Hey, how's it going, guys? Benny Childs, founder of the Teach Me to Fish Effects trading community, and I'm back with another supply and demand market forecast, and this is for the week of Sunday, August 7th, 2022. I want to remind you guys, if you're not yet a subscriber, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you can be notified whenever I go live or post a video. If you would like mentorship, please feel free to click on the join button here and join the mentorship community. All right guys, with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into the forecast. All right, for next week we have a lot of medium and high impact news being released, so we should get plenty of volume to hit the markets, and fingers crossed, hopefully we will get our zones tapped into and provided some entries so that we can trade and make profit along with the institutions. All right guys, with that being said, let's go ahead and drop into the analysis. All right, with the DXY short-term currency bias of long, we currently do have demand in play. We have a demand here that did take out this supply up here, as well as tapping into this 4-hour supply, making it the third tap here. So I will be looking for the DXY to come down into any of these zones here, and even possibly come down into this institutional accumulation zone. And I'll be looking for long trades, or if we get a break of this transitional supply here or this high, I'll be looking for the pair to come back and maybe tap into a 4-hour supply that could possibly form here. All right, moving right along to AUD USD. Short-term currency bias is short for AUD USD. All right, and supply is definitely in control as of right now. We saw price this past week come up and almost tap into this supply here, but this supply has not, not supply, but institutional distribution has not been mitigated as of yet. We also have unmitigated 4-hour supply sitting in here as well. So we may see this pair go ahead and pull back up into either this unmitigated 4-hour supply, possibly this unmitigated 4-hour supply, or the unmitigated institutional distribution zone that I have marked here. So I will definitely be looking for confirmation entry within these three zones, and I'll get in and trade accordingly. We have plenty of imbalance to the downside, as well as unmitigated 4-hour supply, as well as an unmitigated institutional accumulation area. So definitely have reason for this pair to go to the downside to close out any short trades, and so that's what I'll be looking for this pair to do. Again, to either come up into any of these areas here to look for a sell, but we're not one-sided, guys, so we'll also be looking for the demand to hold up and looking for a confirmation entry to take any buy trades as well. And we may want to scalp that, because again, AUD USD, as I told you guys, I can't remember, either in the last market forecast or the one before that, AUD USD is really set to begin to be on a downtrend for a while now. And if we can just really get in at a high price point, we'll be able to hold that for a substantial profit. All right, moving along to pound USD. Short-term currency bias for pound USD is short. All right, we did this supply did take out this demand here. Okay, as well as taking out this low here. So I'm looking for this pair to possibly pull up into this 4-hour unmitigated supply, or even pull up back up into the mitigated institutional distribution zone, and maybe tapping into this unmitigated 4-hour supply before heading down. So that is what I would love to see pound USD do. However, we do have let's see, this one has been mitigated, but we do have unmitigated 4-hour supply sitting inside of this mitigated institutional accumulation zone. So again, we're going to be two-sided, guys. That's the beautiful thing about being a supply and demand trader, and that is we can play both sides. So we just wait for price to get into our zones, wait for our confirmation entry, and then we get in. All right, USD CAD. Short-term currency bias for USD CAD for the week is consolidation. However, just because that is the short-term currency bias, that does not mean that pair will not give us any substantial moves. So again, we're just going to do what we always do, and that is wait for price to come into our unmitigated 4-hour zones, wait for our confirmation entries, and trade from there. Now it has been ranging here over the past couple of weeks, maybe a few weeks here, but for a while now, USD CAD has been ranging. All right, giving us opportunity to scout this pair and not necessarily hold for a long position. But nonetheless, again, we just wait for a price to come into our zones and we trade accordingly. Say for instance here, price did come up into this 4-hour unmitigated supply zone, and as soon as it came in here on the 4-hour chart, it left. So kudos to anyone who caught that. I'm sure that was probably a part of NFP today. So we just want to watch and see what it does. But supply is in control. However, this demand is what took out this supply here. So you guys want to be careful, because we are in between two valid 4-hour supply and demand zones. So you just want to be careful. And again, when price comes into our area of interest, we just want to wait for our trade confirmation. Whatever your trade confirmation is, just wait for it and trade accordingly. All right, moving on to Euro USD. Short-term currency bias is consolidation, and we've already talked about that same scenario, guys. Just because the bias is consolidation, that does not mean that we won't get any moves. However, we do have unmitigated 4-hour supply here, as well as unmitigated 4-hour supply, unmitigated 4-hour demand here. It looks like currently supply is in control. We've had supply created here. Price did not go reach up into that. However, that price point at about 1.02549, that held. They tapped into this imbalance here. Didn't fully feel the imbalance, but they tapped into it, and enough sell orders were sitting at this price point, and it did push the market down, taking out this 4-hour demand. So supply is currently, demand is currently, I'm sorry, I was right. For me, 4 hours supply is currently in the lead right now, is currently in charge, is in control. So I will be looking for this pair to maybe pull up into any of these unmitigated 4-hour supplies to trade down. All right, moving along to USD JPY. Short-term currency bias is consolidation. Demand is currently in control. This demand area did take out, or this demand zone did take out this high here, leaving us with an unmitigated demand zone, as well as other unmitigated demands down here. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in here. This would be an unmitigated 4 hour. All right, so I will be looking for the USD Japanese yen to come down, possibly inside of this demand. Wait for my trade confirmation to sell this going to the upside. However, again, we could be in a consolidating market, so it's very likely for the market to reach up into this institutional institutional distribution, maybe tap into these unmitigated 4 hour supplies and then trade down. So we'll just wait for the market again to go into one of our areas of interest, and we will trade accordingly. All right, USD Swiss. Short-term currency bias for USD Swiss is long. Let's see. This demand, it did take out this small supply here. So for me, demand is currently in control. So that looks good for our short-term currency bias. So what I'll be looking for is for this pair to possibly retrace back into this unmitigated 4 hour supply, or this unmitigated 4 hour demand, or this unmitigated 4 hour demand, and trade accordingly. So yeah, again, demand is in control, and so I am looking to take longs on USD Swiss. All right, USD Mexican peso. Move right along to it. All right, short-term currency bias is consolidation. All right, let's see what we have here. It looks like to me that supply is in control. This demand has been respected so far here. It did not take out any highs or supply zones. So for me, I'm still going to say that supply is in control. So from the onset, I'll be looking to sell this short. I'll be looking for my entry confirmation once it gets into this 4 hour unmitigated supply, and I'll trade that down towards the downside. All right, so again, short-term currency bias for the USD Mexican peso is consolidation, but I believe supply is in control, so I'll be looking to short this market. All right, NZD USD. Short-term currency bias for NZD USD is consolidation. However, I am showing where supply is in control, so I will be looking for this pair to come up into any of these 4 hour unmitigated supply zones and to trade that down. However, we do have unmitigated demand, 2 unmitigated demands, as well as a mitigated institutional accumulation zone. So this pair could continue going to the downside and maybe tap into one of these to trade to the upside. So again, right now for me, supply is in control. So initially I will be looking to sell NZD USD. However, I will keep a close watch on the demand zones to see if I get any trade confirmations to take this pair to the upside. All right, moving on to Bitcoin USD. All right, moving on to Bitcoin. Short-term currency bias is short for Bitcoin. So, and it does look like supply is in control. The supply was created, tapped into, and respected. The supply was created, tapped into, and seemingly respected as well. All right, so I will be looking for this demand to be taken out, and then possibly maybe taking a sell position off of the 4 hour supply that took that out. And so it may be this 4 hour supply here. This is just kind of transitional. We really don't know if this will be an actual or confirmed supply until this demand has been taken out. But again, as of right now, I'll be looking for that demand to be taken out and possibly looking for it to retrace up into a 4 hour supply to sell it to the downside. But again, we do have an unmitigated 4 hour demand here, So price could come into here and we could see this trade to the upside, as well as come down into this unmitigated 4-hour demand and trade to the upside. But again, from the onset, I'm just looking for this demand here to be taken out, and looking to take a trade off of the 4-hour supply that took out that demand. All right, short-term institutional bias for Ethereum USD is short. So just like Bitcoin, supply is in control. It has been respected. So I'm looking for this demand to be taken out before I look for any shorts. So I want that demand to be taken out. I want price to retrace into a 4-hour supply and then trade that to the downside. Now, if this demand is taken out and price continues to keep going down, then I will be looking to take long positions off of any of these unmitigated 4-hour demand zones here. All right, moving along to our metals, we're going to be looking at gold right now. Short-term currency bias for gold is consolidation. It does appear that demand is in control. We had this demand take out this supply as well as this high. All right, it has already been mitigated today, and I would definitely say because of NFP. And I'm sure the trade confirmation that, or one of the trade confirmation or entry confirmation models I use probably has been fulfilled. So this pair will probably be going further to the upside. So I'll be looking for gold to take out this unmitigated 4-hour supply, retrace back into a demand that took out this 4-hour supply, and trade this to the upside if this demand holds. If not, then we'll be looking for the other demand areas to hold and give me my trade entry confirmation, and I'll take it to the upside from there. Okay, so we'll just see what the market gives us and what point of interest, whether it be supply or demand, is respected and holds. All right, taking a look at silver, short-term currency bias for silver is consolidation. Supply is definitely in control right now, so I would be looking for silver to retrace back up into this unmitigated 4-hour supply and look to trade this down. We do have a couple of unmitigated 4-hour demand zones that we could also see price pop into, and we could definitely take this to the upside. But right now the currency bias is consolidation. However, supply is in control, and so from the onset I will be looking to sell silver when the market opens. All right, moving along to U.S. oil. Short-term currency bias for U.S. oil is short. So I will be looking for unmitigated 4-hour supply to be respected. So I would want to see price pull back into this 4-hour unmitigated supply right here before taking it to the downside, or we may get this 4-hour demand taken out. And then we'll look for retracement into a fresh 4-hour supply to take this to the downside. So we have a couple of options here, and we just kind of want to trade accordingly. Okay, now if price does come down into this demand and it does give me a long position entry confirmation, then I'm going to trade this long, but from the onset I will be looking for shorts for US oil. All right, moving along to BAY, which is XBX 500 USD. Short-term currency bias for this pair is consolidation. Right now, supply is in control, so from the onset, I will be looking to sell this pair, maybe to see it to pull back up into this unmitigated 4-hour supply here, and then push to the downside. Now we are sitting within a institutional distribution zone, so that kind of gives me further confidence that maybe this pair would push further to the downside, even though the currency bias is consolidation. But We do have, okay, yes, this has already been tapped into. This 4-hour demand has already been tapped into. So again, from the onset, I may drop down to a lower time frame supply and see if that holds, and maybe see if I can get a tight entry on the SPX 500 to take it to the downside. But I will be looking for these demands as well, or I'll be looking out for these demands. If I do get a confirmation entry, then that will allow me to take this pair to the upside. But from the onset, for me, supply is in control, so I will be looking to take this pair short until a demand area is respected. All right, or unless a demand area is respected, and then I'll be looking to take this further to the upside. All right, now the NAS 100 USD short-term currency bias is short for this pair. All right, supply is in control. It looks like we've already got this pair to tap into this what was an unmitigated 4-hour supply. So we're probably gonna have to wait for this unmitigated demand to be taken out or respected to see exactly how it is we can trade this, or we can drop down to a lower time frame, maybe like the 1 hour, look for a unmitigated supply, if any, to take this to the downside to trade along the short-term currency bias. All right, last but not least, we have US 30 with a short-term currency bias as of long. All right, so I will be looking to take this pair long, but let's take a look to see if demand or supply is currently in control. Currently, we are sitting inside of an institutional distribution zone with rejection here. So I'm kind of seeing that demand. Well, before I say that, I would say supply is in control, because we did have this demand taken out, and the supply that has been created has been respected. So I would say supply is in control as of right now. At the time of this recording, supply is in control for US 30 USD. However, when it comes to the short-term currency bias, I will be looking for any of these demand zones to be respected to take this further to the upside. But again, if supply is in control and supply is being respected, then from the onset, I will be looking to take shorts with that short-term currency bias in the back of my mind, looking for demand to be respected. All right, guys, I hope this video wasn't too long for you. I hope it has given you some insight. I hope it's been educational for you. You guys let me know how your trading week went and how it is going down below. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, do me the honor of becoming a subscriber. If you would like to join the mentorship community, feel free to join that as well. I've had a little time this past week to do some live videos, so you guys go ahead and check that out. A very successful week, especially with the live streams. For instance, today alone, I was able to profit about 0.5% of my trading account, and I did that live with you guys. So be on the lookout for those lives, as well as any other videos that I post. And that's gonna be it, guys. As always, please remember, if you stay in God, you will stay in control. And until next time, happy pip fishing. Bye bye.